Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas. This is How to Make a Game in Unity, and welcome to episode 35. So this episode we are going to start looking at a shop system. So we'll create a very simple interface which you guys can obviously advance as and when you need to. And we'll also look at setting up our scripts that we'll need to use the shop. So firstly, what we'll do is we'll create a script which is going to be called Global Shop, and this script is going to contain all the different strings for the items that will be in the various shops in the game. So let's go to our scripts folder, right click, create a new folder, and let's have this as just shops. Just try and keep everything tidy. So let's create a brand new C# script and let's call it Global Shop. Have to take out that there, bit of a typo. So if we open up this script to edit, and the way we're going to do this is within this script we're going to have several different variables, and these variables can obviously change depending on what shop we visit. So I'm going to get rid of the note here and void start, we don't need them, and we're going to start by declaring public static, and it's going to be a string, and let's call it item 01. So the reason we've got public static is because we want to reference this script in other scripts as well, and the reason it's a string is because it's going to be some text, and obviously item 01 would be the name. So we'll repeat that again for item 2. So public static string item 02 semicolon, and remember string there is a lowercase s. And let's do, should we do 4? We'll do 4 items that we can have at the moment. So string and item 04, public static string item 04, that one should be 03. Okay, so these are going to be the 4 items that we're going to use just to start off with. And we're also going to have a number that we can reference so we know which shop we're in. So we're going to have that as just an integer to define the shop number. So public static, and that will be int because it's integer, and shop number, and semicolon. So the idea of what we're going to do is this script will be one that we reference. So when we start up a shop script somewhere else in the game, we'll define that shop as being shop number 1, shop number 2, shop number 3, etc. So it'll say to this script that we are in shop number 1. So then this script then updates what items we can and can't buy. So in update, we'll do if shop number equals 1, that's double equal, remember, open curly bracket, we'll make item 01 equal to, let's say, wood block. So we're going to have various items. Item 02 is going to be equal to, let's have it as a black feather. Item 3 can be a red potion. So in quotes that is, with a semicolon. Item 4, let's have that as a blue potion. Blue potion. So close that if statement. So then we have another if statement. If we say shop number is equal to 2, because obviously we're going to have more than one shop in the entire game. Item 01 is going to be iron block, so we can buy an iron block from this shop, but not the first one. Second item, let's have that as black feather again, so we can buy black feather in both. Item 3, let's say we can buy a red potion in both shops. And item 4, let's have no item 4. So item 04 is going to be equal to double quote, which means nothing. And then close that curly bracket. This will close the void update, and then this one will close the entire class. So let's head back to Unity, and let's have a new game object, create empty, F2, and let's call this global shop manager. And just drag and drop global shop onto there. We don't need to set any variables at this stage. So now what we'll do is we'll set up a new UI panel with all the different options that we can have. So let's have a game object, UI, and let's choose panel. Let's double click the panel. And what I think we'll do is let's shrink it using this option here. So let's shrink it to about there, and let's have it centered, dead center. And let's have the width as, let's have it as 780 and height as 390. What color background should we have? Let's just have kind of slight grayish blue color. We'll have that. Rename to shop panel. And within that shop panel, let's do a couple of things real quickly just to define that it is a shop. So let's add in some more UI, let's add in text, and let's have this text at the top up here. Let's anchor it, and let's just say, welcome to shop. Welcome to shop. Let's have it as white text. Let's center it, and let's increase it to, how about 24, maybe bigger. Let's have 36 and just increase that there. Okay, so welcome to shop. Now let's set a couple of buttons there. These buttons are obviously going to be the ones that we can click on to say we want to buy this item. So let's start by right clicking here, UI, button right there. So right click and rename, and let's call this item 01. I'm going to keep it center, and I'm going to move it to about there. And let's go to the text, and I'm just going to leave it as blank for now because this will be updated when our script runs anyway. And I'm going to, in fact, what I will do is keep the word button there, but let's just change our font size so we can see what it looks like. Let's have 24. Let's expand the actual button, shall we? About there. And let's have it as bold. And color of the actual button, let's have as a bluish color. That should do. And let's get rid of the word button in there. And let's hold Control, press D to duplicate, and drag this to about there. So that's our second item. So let's right click on there, rename, and change it to item 2. Hold Control, press D, and let's put this here for item 3. And once more as item 4. So there are different ways of doing this. You could have it in a list down the side. You could have all the items down here and more down here. You could have it all the way across the top. You can have different things. So obviously within a shop itself, you have different options, and as you click something, you will get the option of, say, are you sure you want to buy this item? So we need to add in a couple more buttons here and there. So we need like maybe a yes, no down here, in another panel. So we'll get that going next. So right click on the shop panel, UI, and let's have another panel. Let's shrink it to size about there. And within this panel, I'll tell you what, let's F2 on that and call that confirm panel. And in here, let's add in some text. So UI, text, let's bring it over here. Increase the size. I'm doing this as quick as possible, and you guys obviously should take as much time as you need to do this, because you shouldn't really rush things too much when you've got this much detail to work with. So let's get rid of the words new text. Let's have it center. We don't need new text. And let's add in 2 buttons there. So right click, UI, let's have button. Let's move our button this way. shrink it just a little. I'm going to zoom in, I think. And I'm going to have the text as yes. And I'll change it to a green color, obviously to represent yes. And right click, rename. Let's have this as yes opt, short for option. Hold control, press D, move it across this way. And you've probably guessed it by now. This is going to be our no option. So let's have that as no. And change it to red. And change that to no opt. So when we press play, we should be able to see we have the shop interface kind of slowly coming together.
I need to find
As I say, I've put this together as quick as possible. You guys really should take as much time as you need to. So with this basic interface up and running, all we need to do is write a script to determine that we are in shop 1, and then we need to update everything as we need to. So in shops, in this folder here in the scripts, let's right click, create another C# script, and let's call this shop01 access. So obviously what will happen with this is when we come to run this script, we are going to tell the previous script we wrote, this global shop one, that we're going to be in shop 1. So what we'll do is at the very top, we're going to put using Unity engine.ui because we're using UI elements within the script. And we're going to have 6 variables within this. So firstly, let's get rid of void update and void start. We don't need them. And let's start with public game object. And it's called shop inventory semicolon. And next what we'll do is public game object. Oh, thanks Malwarebytes. I'm not up to date. That's because I'm not actually online right now. And this will be called item01 text. So we'll change the text in whatever item 01 is to buy. Next we'll have we need to put public game object and have item 02 text. And yeah, you've guessed it. Carry on with the others. So we'll quickly change that to item 3 and item 4. So the 6th one is going to be that completion box down here. So we don't actually want that to appear right now. So let's turn that off in the inspector panel. And let's call it item completion, shall we? So public game object item completion semicolon. So we're going to do this to start with, just for now, just to get things moving a bit more, is using it as a trigger. We're not going to use a trigger eventually. We're going to use a person that we speak to activate the shop interface. But for convenience in this tutorial, we're going to use it as a trigger. So void on trigger enter, open close bracket, open curly bracket. And the first thing we need to do is shop inventory dot set active true. Next thing we need to do is actually set the mouse on. Now if we remember, if we go back quite a few tutorials, we have our inventory, and what the inventory did is, if we can, let me find the right script. I think we put it in here, didn't we? Because originally what happened is, or rather what can happen within Unity, is when you start the game and you want to try and get your mouse to appear to click things, it doesn't necessarily work as you would hope. So I think it's the inventory on off script just here. And there's a very clever little line of code that we have here called screen.lockCursor equals false. So if we copy that line of code and bring it into shop 01 access, all it means is that when we press, or rather when we enter this trigger to go to the shop, we can actually see our cursor. And it's pretty, like I say, it's pretty much the same sort of code that we use for the inventory. And it is the same sort of process what we go down. So what we now need to do is tell global shop that we're in shop number 1. So global shop dot shop number equals 1. And all this will do now is update itself to tell us what the items can be bought in this shop. So what we need to do is item01 text.get component, and in spiky brackets the word text with a capital T, open close bracket dot text is equal to double quote, because we need to do it that way just so as it realizes that there is something going in here rather than just some random variable, plus global shop dot item 01 semicolon. So hopefully you can see what's going on here. We're populating what items can be bought in the shop from our global shop script. I'm going to copy and paste that 3 more times and quickly change that to item 2 is equal to item 2, item 3 equals item 3, and 4 equals 4. So at this point we've got our shop actually on screen, we can see. So we close our void on trigger enter, we finished that one. And now what we need to do is each of the items on our screen are buttons. So when we click these buttons to say yes we want to buy them, we need to display that little panel at the bottom to say are you sure you want to buy this. So to do that we need to do public void item 01. Now the reason we've done public void is because this is going to be attached to a button, and a button has to recognize that this is public. So open close bracket, open curly bracket, and we need to do item completion dot set active false semicolon. And next thing we need to do is say to the text that we have in there on the bottom is do we want to buy this particular item. So item completion, actually do you know what, I think we may actually need to declare another variable here. So public game object, and we'll have complete text, because it's a different component. It's not actually the panel we're changing the text on, it's the actual text box we have. So we need to do complete text dot get component, spiky brackets, text, open close bracket dot text equals, and we'll say are you sure you want to buy, and then space and quote, plus global shop dot item 01 plus, and in quotes, question mark and semicolon. So you can see the process of what this is actually going to display. If we were to click item 1 in shop 1, it would tell us are you sure you want to buy wood block with a question mark. So obviously if we were in shop 2 and this was happening, it would say at this point are you sure you want to buy iron block. But we'll display this more as we go along anyway. So that's the end of that public void there. So we can literally copy that now and change it to public void item 2. It'll still display, that should be true actually, because we want to actually display the actual thing itself. So this just needs to change to 2 as well. You just need to repeat this 2 more times for your items. So item 3 is to item 3, and item 4 is for item 4. So the last thing we're going to put in here is another public void, and this will be cancel transaction. So this will be the no button, because it's just the easiest thing to do at the moment. Public void cancel transaction, open close bracket, open curly bracket, and we just need to put item completion dot set active false semicolon, close curly bracket, and let's save that script. Head back to Unity and let's go back into our shops folder in the script, and we need to set up that trigger now. So let's find our player and let's just have a trigger somewhere over here for now, just to activate the shop. So game object, 3D object, cube, and let's bring our cube down to the floor to about there. Click is trigger, and then drag and drop shop 01 access onto this cube. Next thing we need to do, shop inventory. Shop panel goes onto there. Item 01 is going to be the text. So all three of these item 01 text have to be the text that are attached to the button, because the button itself doesn't have a text component. It only has the components it needs for a button. It's the child object that it has the text for the button. Item completion is the confirm panel. Complete text is this text right here. So let's turn off our shop panel here and let's press play. So now,
where
hopefully,
looks like a village.
we go into here and we should have our shop appear. And there we go. So let's choose wood block. Oh, one thing I forgot to do there is actually attach the scripts to the buttons. So what we need to do is click on plus and drag and drop the cube into there. Change no function to shop 01 access and call it item 1. Same applies with item 2. So drag the cube into there. No function, shop 01 access and 02. Same applies to number 3. Click on the plus. Cube in there, no function, shop 01, item 3. And lastly, number 4. Drag and drop cube into there. Shop 01, item 4. And we also have that no option as well. So that no option button there, we'll just add the cube to there. Shop 01 access, and it was cancel transaction. So now, hopefully, this should work as we intend it to.
Where am I? I need
Looks like
to
a
find
village
a way out
into
of
this
this
wood cube, and there we go. So red potion. Are you sure you want to buy red potion? No. So it disappears. Blue potion. Are you sure you want to buy blue potion? No. Black feather. No. Okay, so just to prove that we can change the actual shop itself, let's pretend this is now shop number 2. We just change this number here to the number 2 and save. So theoretically, even though we've only written one single script, we now have as many shops as we actually want using the same script.
Looks like a village over that bridge. Out of this wood.
Trigger it, and we can see that we now have iron block, black feather, red potion, and we don't have an item there. So eventually what we'll do is when we realize that we don't have items, we have a space for an item, but we don't have an option to buy that item, we can always erase that out at a later date. So red potion, yeah, we can do that. Iron block, you see. Do you want to buy iron block? No. So this is the beginning of the shop system. It's a lot more complex than this, and this is just the basics of getting it actually up and running. You've got to factor in currency, you've got to factor in details that you buy things and all kinds of stuff, but we're going to get into that as we go along, and it's going to be a lot of fun because there's a lot of logic involved in this, and I enjoy working with logic, especially in game development. So next episode we'll get our button for yes working, that we want to buy it. We'll get quantities sorted, we'll add in a bit more inventory, and we'll also look at getting our coins sorted out, so our currency, because still, as we know, we did this a long time ago, but over here we still have our coins as 0
I need to find a way out of
and we realistically need it in our inventory to show us how much currency we have, because we're going to need it when we get to shops. So until next episode, guys, what I'd recommend is if you take the time to work on your shop system, take the time to maybe spruce it up a little, make it look nice. You don't necessarily have to use the panels. You can use textures if you want to on these panels. You can use textures on the buttons to maybe give a visualization of whatever items you're buying, and yeah, just go from there. And if you get stuck with anything, just leave some comments below and I'll try and get back to you guys. And if you need help with the scripts, you can always get them scripts on the website for free in the downloads and assets section. Click on the Teal series, which is this series, and go all the way down to episode 35 and just get the scripts from there. So guys, until next time, thank you very much for watching.